Bigfoot hunting is nothing like any hunting that you've ever done before in your life.
I'm Ken Gerhard, and I am the monster hunter. Like most boys, I was fascinated with monsters, and unlike most, I perhaps thought that some might be real. At age 15, I did my first field work at Loch Ness, armed with a little 8mm movie camera. Bigfoot hunting is a passion. Really, it's an obsession. And it's that quest for truth and knowledge that's really driven me and inspired 3 or 4 generations of Bigfoot hunters. So in that respect, I consider myself part of the new generation, the new breed of Bigfoot hunters.
The untrained eye might bypass this collection of tangled branches, but the sight of something familiar stops Ken Gerhard in his tracks.
This seems very similar to some of the what I call Bigfoot nests or shelters that I've found in different areas. Seems like it would be a pretty fair temporary habitat for one of these creatures if it was trying to escape the elements and so forth. I don't see any hairs or really any visible tracks in here, but I think I'm gonna look around the area perimeter and see if I can find some tracks. The peak years seem to be 1976, the latter part of 1975, where in a span of about 3 weeks, dozens of people here in the valley reported seeing this gigantic winged creature.
Surrounding the wide open fields are acres of dense woods, which could be the perfect hiding place for the chupacabra.
I am seeing a big intersection here. Here's a game trail, here's a game trail, there's a game trail. Make it more stable.
The expedition team has traveled to Monterrey, Mexico, the location of many of the sightings of the flying humanoid creatures.
Well, the nation of Mexico is a very magical and mysterious place.
Ken Gerhard, an author from Texas, will lead the search in the location of Officer Samadiego's spine-chilling encounter.
Whatever he encountered that night was very real to him. So my impression is that Leonardo did have some type of encounter with a non-human entity, if you will. This is, of course, Monterrey. Geographically speaking, what are we looking at here as far as what do we have in terms of these surrounding mountains, caves, and so forth? What is the lay of the land, so to speak?
It is believed by locals that the creatures are nocturnal cave dwellers. As a result, Gerhard has outfitted the team with night vision equipment and targeted a cave 5,000 feet above sea level to start the search.
Caves have been very, very good in terms of discoveries of different types of fossils, cave paintings. These were, of course, habitations for thousands of years of the early indigenous peoples all over the world. If there were any type of undiscovered animal or creature, whether it be a gigantic form of bat, a surviving pterosaur from our prehistoric past, they would need a place to hide. Within the different legends and folklores of Mexico, we find many references to these flying humanoids or winged humanoid type creatures. Specifically here in the mountains around Monterrey, we hear reports of the legends of the Birdman. There's the Camazotz, or Zots, the death bat. And this is depicted in Maya engravings as a anthropomorphic creature with the body of a man and the head of a bat. And it's often associated with sacrifice and death.
Ken Gerhard of Texas is a world-renowned cryptozoologist. He has traveled the globe searching for answers to the world's most baffling animal mysteries.
Generally speaking, I tend to follow the doctrines and methodologies that are applied by scientists.
Most remote areas in France.
On the other hand, I'm quite convinced that there are mysterious animals and creatures that roam our planet. The early humans that lived in France, they would often paint these renditions of the animals that they knew on the sides of caves. So one specifically are prehistoric cave hyenas. It's related to the modern hyena, but it was much larger. Okay, and they found hundreds of these fossils all throughout France. Whoa!
What?
Not sure how I missed this.
A long-jawed animal.
I would say a large ungulate, hoofed animal, like a goat or something.
Yeah.
I wonder what ate it, though, if it just died of natural causes.
Not a person, we'd look for defense wounds.
Perhaps some large predatory type animal brought it in here for a meal.
Like a human.
Yeah, or something else. Now, the actual dimensions of the skull, the neck, again, much longer than we would find in, say, a typical canine, like a wolf. And then the ears, very pointy, perhaps a bit stylized. All right, and now finally the eyes. So we have a basic model here. Okay, based on the correlation of the eyes and the placement of the eye sockets in the skull.
Okay.
All right. Of course, it's in pretty bad shape as far as decomposition, but we can kind of tell that the skin is lacking in hair, except around the feet.
Is that hair on the feet normal?
In the case of a mangy animal, that would be unusual.
And Ken Gerhard and Derek Hayek think they can deliver one.
We use every trick in the book, whatever we have at our disposal, to actually try to lure one of these animals in.
The two men will hunt the chupacabra tonight.
Military grade, we've got this hooked up to a camera. So anything we see, we can record. More importantly, infrared thermal imaging reads off heat signatures. Anything that gives off heat, it's not going to be able to hide.
Trap's over here to our right. We'll get down here in this little slough or ravine and see if we can see any activity.
When investigating mystery animals, it's important to point out that there are very vast areas of land, even here in South Texas, that remain uninhabited.
And possibly home to the creature. Cryptozoologist Ken Gerhard wrote the book on the large dark birds, many of them compared to small aircraft. We caught up with Gerhard at the Laguna Atascosa National Wildlife Refuge.
If an animal like Big Bird does exist, it certainly needs some habitat.
So Gerhard is installing cameras in Harlingen, Texas, where Guadalupe Cantu wants his big bird sighting documented and validated.
We want to get proof of this thing if we can. I believe there's a good chance that a number of large, prehistoric animals, if you will, remain undiscovered by modern science. What's interesting, though, is that these reports of these giant raptor-like birds do continue into modern times.
San Antonio's Ken Gerhard's written a book on the subject.
These are the surviving ancestors of modern condors and vultures. They lived up until about 6,000 years ago, we know for sure, in parts of North America. In fact, over 100 specimens have been recovered from the La Brea tar pits in California.